Millions turned out across the country today for a coordinated day of protest against President Donald Trump and his administration's policies. Organizers expected more than 2,600 No Kings rallies in big cities.
So what's your biggest fear with the current administration right now?
Project 2025 and Project Esther.
Dictatorship.
Absolutely.
Women's rights.
Loss of women's rights.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm being affected, like myself, as a queer person and as a Latina. A lot of my family is being affected by this current administration, and I just think it's important to be out here and supporting my people.
The way they've cut spending, the way they militarized the cities, the way they've intimidated the free press, the judges, the media.
I think with the current administration, I fear everything. I'm a retired attorney, and I see the things going on at the Supreme Court that is some of the worst jurisprudence in the history of our Supreme Court. We actually have two people on the Supreme Court that I believe are openly crooked. They're corrupt. They've taken $500,000 bribes. They won't recuse themselves on cases involving their friends and people who've given them money. So
Would you care to name names of who you believe
I would
might
prefer
be?
not to.
I feel like the government is getting too big. They have such a big head on their shoulders, like, baby girl, tone it down. Tone it down.
Human rights, though, overall, because that entails women's rights and just very basic,
Yeah,
you know.
and it's scary. We have to ask for human rights
Exactly.
right now.
Yeah. It's scary in America that we do, right.
Yeah.
My concern is about our democracy. I feel like it's already a dictatorship, and there's no due process. He goes after his enemies. It's not about government. It's just about him and having power. So I'm afraid that this might be the end. So I'm here to protest it and hope people will come to their senses that it's not. We love America. That's why we're here.
Yeah.
We do not like Trump, but we love America.
My tops is that I want kids to be able to go to school with no fear.
Absolutely.
I want kids to be able to get a hot meal at school.
Yes.
Charcuterie boards for everybody.
Exactly.
But honestly, there would be no America with no immigrants. And stop trying to get rid of the seasoned food. At the end of the
America's
day.
the melting pot. Immigrants here are what make it great.
Literally, I wouldn't be here if my grandmother hadn't come here from the Philippines. She told me once, I was smart enough to her, she said, "Excuse me, I gave you democracy." And that was the last fight we ever had.
What do you think she would think about the way democracy is being handled right now in America?
I think that she would feel like this is a dictatorship.
My proudest legacy will be that of a peacemaker and unifier. That's what I want to be, a peacemaker and a unifier.
Breaking news out of Minnesota. We've just learned State Representative Melissa Hortman and her husband were shot and killed overnight. Also shot was State Senator John Hoffman and his wife.
Officials described as a politically motivated assassination just last month. A man was sentenced to 80 years in prison for orchestrating a politically motivated shooting spree against Democratic lawmakers in New Mexico. Pennsylvania Governor Josh Shapiro and his family were the targets of an attempted assassination in April. Former House Speaker Nancy Pelosi silently attacked in their home 3 years ago. One person was killed and dozens were injured. In a white supremacist terror attack in Charlottesville in 2017, a violent mob stormed the Capitol and attacked police officers on January 6, 2021. And there were not one, but two assassination attempts against Donald Trump.
President Trump just announcing that Charlie Kirk has died after being shot at an event in Utah for his Turning Point USA organization.
A prominent judge's mansion goes up in flames. It's a complete loss. Thick smoke could be seen for miles.
There's a growing number of Americans who believe violence may be necessary to get the country back on track. According to a new PBS News NPR Mayor's poll, 30% of Americans feel this way. And that's a rise from 18 months ago when only 19% of Americans said the same.
Ebony Sweets Watson, who's a neighbor of the apartment building, lives right across the street, says it looked like hundreds of agents were outside of her front door. She saw agents dragging residents across the ground, including children, out of the building without any clothes on and into U-Haul vans. Kids were actively separated from their mother. She said it was heartbreaking to watch because even if you're not a mother, seeing kids, quote, coming out butt naked and taken from their mothers, it was horrible.
If you had to give a message to the younger generation right now, what would your charge be for them?
my charge would be for them is to act in compassion and love. And when it comes to the message of the Bible, you could have everything, but have not love, you have nothing.
Absolutely.
And so, if you look at the current administration, they struggle with that. You don't really hear the message of love coming from anybody. Yeah. And that's what we have to get out there for the young group.
The hate that's going on in the current administration, attacking minority groups, attacking poor people, etc., that's born out of hate, and that's the game they play.
Yeah.
They try to hit everybody's hate or fear or prejudice buttons, and of course that with the unlimited campaign contributions that was allowed by the Citizens United case has created a very corrupt system. And it's very sad for this country, and it needs to be changes, dramatic changes needed. Join in the cause and just fight for what we all love. That's why so many people, old people, are out here today, because we fear for our children and our grandchildren. Yes. And basically, I say what these people are saying, keep fighting, that if you take what we have for granted, there are people that are trying to take it away.
And please get out, guys. This is about you. This is about your future. Got all these grandmas and grandpas out here fighting for you.
Yes.
Fighting for your brothers, your sisters, your future children.
Absolutely.
Wake up.
Stay aware of what's going on.
To fight back.
Exactly.
Fight back.
Because
Because
stand up.
once your freedom is gone, you may not get it back.
It becomes a hell of a lot harder to
Exactly.
get it back.
Especially for women. I
Now-
mean, there was a time when
yeah.
we couldn't vote, we couldn't hold a credit card, so we have to stand together in solidarity. To wake up? I mean, I don't know what to say. I've tried to talk to my own family members, and it's hard to get through. So I think sometimes it just has to affect a person before they start caring.
I would say, to try not to, don't be afraid of what we're saying and what we're speaking of. Don't be afraid of what we're trying to do, because what we're trying to do is just get our government back to where it should be.
I would say don't be scared because of fear-mongering from people that do not care about other people or do not have an understanding of, frankly, what is right and what is wrong.
We've got some major news right now. No King's Day is now one of the largest protests in American history. And the most important part of it all, there hasn't been very little, if any, reports of any violence. It's one of the largest peaceful protests in American history. 7 million people across the country have marched, across the globe have marched. And from San Diego to New York, police departments are saying that there was no violence, not a single arrest made related to the protests. Let me tell you, that is significant. Because for a long time, Republicans were telling us that, hey, and not just Republicans, sorry, MAGA, those associated with the White House, were telling us that these are Hate America rallies, that those going are hateful people, that they're violent, that they're criminals.